Far from the sun. That sun right there. So sorry I wasn't able to get this review up fast enough. I just had things going on, but anyway. So Amorphis' 2003 release in Europe and 2004 in America is their sixth release and their final release with Pasi Koskinen on lead vocals. And I guess what they were trying to go for on here would be more of like a modern rock sort of style, and does that really pay off as much? We'll see. So yes, Amorphis would once again be morphing into a different sound. Instead of the more psychedelic prog rock sound you got out of Universe, they went for like a more modern rock, like radio rock sort of sound with this one here. And the results overall, I would say, are pretty mixed. This is definitely the worst Amorphis album. Yeah, a lot of people really shit on this release. I think I'm a little bit more like optimistic towards it than other people, but this album definitely has some serious flaws. The band themselves were definitely not really in the right mindset during this release. The musicianship is pretty good overall, but you could definitely tell their heart wasn't really in the right place at the time, especially Pasi Koskinen. Like on all three of the previous albums, he sounded great. He sounded like on top of his game. He sounded really good, and he does here in like bits and pieces. Like sometimes he just sounds like exhausted. He sounds like whatever. Like he doesn't sound as engaging as he has on the previous three Amorphis albums, and I don't think the band were really. I don't think their hearts were really into this one, so that's it's kind of disappointing for the listener. I guess the creative juices, like they weren't really flowing as well. For example, on the song Smithereens, actually, I'll get to that in a little bit. Let me do like a track review for you guys really quick. Just give you a rundown of everything. So track number 1 is Day of Your Beliefs, and wow, this is easily one of the best songs like sung by Pasi Koskinen behind the mic. Wow, he sounds great here. The music is great. It's just a really inspired track, which it kind of leaves you a false first impression of what the rest of the album will sound like, which that could be kind of a bad thing. You're listening to this amazing song, but then much of the rest of the album doesn't really match up, so at the same time that could be kind of a bad thing, but I mean, the song just by itself, wow, this is an anthem. This is something you want to play over and over again. It's easily the song that I've played the most on this album. I think I've played it close to about 50 times or something, maybe even more. Yeah, I love this song to death. This is a great, great anthem. I just love it. Track number 2 is Planetary Misfortune, and I don't know, this song kind of hits me the wrong way. I mean, there's elements in it that I really, really like, but as an overall whole, the song, it doesn't really do much for me. Track number 3 is Evil Inside, which is another really good song. I really like the darker, more like bluesy, oriental sort of sound to it. It's another really good song. It's played in sort of the same style as Day of Your Beliefs, although it's not as good as Day of Your Beliefs, and also it's not quite as anthemic. But I know they released like a music video for this, which actually came with the CD that I bought, which that was pretty cool. I like the music video, and this is a really good song. I like it too. Morning Soil. It's a pretty good song. I actually really like it. The keyboards in it are a really nice touch. I really like the keyboards in here. The rest of the song's pretty decent. Far from the Sun. it's okay. I kind of like it. Um, if I don't really go back to it all that much often, but if I do, I enjoy it. It's not terrible or anything. It's not spectacular. It's just pretty good. It's okay. Ethereal Solitude is a nice, um, sort of ambient-ish, yeah, and it's a good song too. I actually really like this one as well. I don't really have much to say about it, but yeah, it leaves you with sort of an ambient feel, and it's good. It's a good song. Killing Goodness is another one of my favorites on this album. This when I was funny enough, when I was listening to the samples of this on iTunes or something, I thought it was going to be one of the worst songs in the album, but just believe it or not, I listened to the song on its own. I listened to the very intro of it. I was really engaged with it. It actually turned out to be one of my favorites on this album. So yeah, really good. This is actually a really good song. I really like it. So yeah, I guess don't judge a book by its cover, or don't judge a song by its sample, I suppose. God of Deception, on the other hand, um, yeah, again, it's basically the inverse here. I listened to the sample of God of Deception and I was really impressed, although when I listened to the song as a whole, I wasn't impressed at all. That is so ironic. Killing Goodness, I thought, wasn't going to be all that great. It turned out to be really good. God of Deception, I thought was going to be really good, but it just turned out to be pretty mediocre. So, yeah, my God. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't really care for this song. Sorry. Track number 9 is Higher Ground. Again, I don't know. Same feeling I got for God of Deception. I really liked the sample for it, but as the song goes on, it just kind of wears on you. It's not quite as engaging, and I mean, when you hear like the sitars in the beginning, wow, you're in for a wild ride. But once the heavier guitars come in, it just really lets you down. It really doesn't bring you up. It doesn't feel as climatic or anything like that. I mean, the sitar intro is like building everything up, and then suddenly the sort of watered down sound of the heavier sounding guitars, they just don't. It doesn't punch you. It doesn't hit you the right way. That's one of the main things about this album that really brings it down. The production on like the heavier guitars sounds very watered down and just cluttered. It just sounds out of focus, and you can't really get yourself engaged into the song if it just sounds like ugh. So yeah, that's one of the things that really brought Higher Ground down um, on this album. And yeah, I think this is one of Posse's worst performances. Just listen to the chorus here. It's like, I'd let you sleep now, but I don't know how. Yeah, I don't like the way he sings the chorus. I'm sorry. I love Posse. I think he's a great vocalist, but you really, really can tell on this song he doesn't feel inspired at all. I think this is one of the worst Amorphis songs I've ever heard. So yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like this song. Track number 10 is Smithereens, which is actually a good closer to this album. Although, like I said before, I was about to mention before that the creative juices on this album weren't really as fluid as they were before. And you could tell because there's a riff that's played in this song that was played by Pink Floyd off of Echoes from Metal, which was the riff. That riff was taken by Andrew Lloyd Webber for Phantom of the Opera, and what do you know? Now Amorphis is doing the same thing. Yeah, it's almost like beating a dead horse, just how much this riff has been used. Yeah, talk about running out of ideas, seriously. But other than that, I really do enjoy this song. It's a great closer. I like the piano ballad with Posey singing. It's definitely an improvement over how he sounded in Higher Ground. And Yeah, really good closer. It definitely ends the album on a good note. So I definitely have some good things to say about the bookends of the album. Those are the like the first and the last track have to have some redeeming value, or else yeah, the first song of the album has to leave a good first impression. The last song of the album has to leave you with like the last thing to remember and the most recent thing in your mind. And if it turns out to be a good ending, then um, you'll end up having a bit of a higher opinion of this album. And indeed, I do compared to most other people. On my Metal Storm review, since I made a review of this on Metal Storm, I gave it a 6.5. I think I'll be a bit generous and bump it up to a 7 out of 10. I think there's actually a lot of really good redeeming moments on this album, whether it be like in the middle of songs or just overall songs as a whole, but it's definitely not as solid as any of their other works, I have to say. But with that said, I'm still glad that I own this album because I have almost every Amorphis album in my collection. So, yeah, I'm glad I have it. I'm glad that Amorphis didn't release a complete pile of shit or anything like that. I'm glad I was able to take away some good stuff out of this album. So that's really all that matters. Just offer me some really good stuff and I'll buy it. I mean, if this was just released by some other band that I didn't care about, I probably wouldn't have bought it, but it's Amorphis, so Amorphis was able to deliver some good stuff on this, so yeah. Again, that's really all I have to say about this. I mean, this is the longest review I've made for an Amorphis album so far, so yeah, I'm just going to end it here. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for Eclipse.